Hi, Ink Teacher here with another tutorial on drawing the human figure. Today I'd like to talk about drawing the relationship between the chest barrel and the hips. And it stays, when you think of this guiding sphere here, think of it as a like a ball joint that these two forms rotate on. You can pretty much count that you can take this curvature of the chest barrel here and bring it in a nice curve down to the hip region here. Now, of course, that is a total simplification. When you start working in muscles and bodies of fat, this line can all of a sudden take on a lot of variation of shape. But as far as the underlying structure, there's going to be nice continuity of this line and this line. As you can see, an exception to what I'm talking about is where the chest barrel starts to eclipse the gut. We're not going to see this side here smoothly go into this side here because the front of the chest begins to block off the gut, the view of the gut. And a handy technique I like to use in manipulating these two forms, two directional lines that I count on. The directional line that is the base of the chest barrel and the directional line that is the top of the box or the hip shape. And I think of them as handles, and it makes it really easy to kind of get a sense of the difference in where these two forms are facing. So if I want to swing, the chest barrel back like this individual is going to be reaching back behind them, I can grab this handle here and angle it up and angle it to the side, and then I know the chest barrel is going to be facing, more in that direction, and whereas the hips are going to be facing in this direction, I can work with this angle here, and it just clarifies it. If you have some good, clean directional lines that go way past the body form, then it's a good reference, and they are some solid lines that you can start to build the rest of these shapes on. And as you can see, I'm keeping these two forms fairly simple when I'm changing their direction and movement. Now, just because there's a continuity between these here does not mean that the chest barrel and hips do not rotate out of sync with each other very easily, because they do. You can have, we're looking, the hips are facing this way and the chest barrel is facing this way, so you see that the two forms can twist real easily back and forth. And it's just a good thing to keep in mind, because it happens a lot, and yet it's something that tends to get neglected in drawings. And you can see that there's still, a fairly smooth transition from this side here down, down into the hip area here. And, we can go ahead and work in the side, and don't forget to put the tilt in. So even though we're looking at the chest barrel here, we're still thinking, even though the chest barrel, even though the person is leaning this way, the natural direction that the chest barrel goes in is still going to have movement going this way. So we're still going to kind of throw some of this form back. And we do that within the form of the chest barrel itself. We do that by putting on an almost windshield-like shape to the upper part of the chest, and, under the ribs going ahead, and there's kind of a cutaway. And that naturally, even though the chest barrel is leaning kind of this way, its form its form creates a form that has kind of a gradual tilt back that way. And here's dividing the chest barrel in half in the front. You know, put a mark where we'll want the neck to come off, and you know, it's really nice to work with these two. There's one, you know, in the matter of timing when you want to work out the entire body. There's always a time when I like to pay attention to the relationship that these two forms have with each other. And at the same time, I really want to make sure I understand where the rest of the body is going before I let's just say that if I start to change these around in perspective space, that's going to have a drastic effect on the arms and legs. Because if you move this a little bit, you're basically, you know, don't completely draw in and shade an arm before you start deciding to change these two forms around on the page, because everything else is going to have to follow along with it. And I think that finishes my tutorial for this subject. I hope my tutorials are useful to you. I post them to get the word out about a story I'm working on at solomation.com. I post free episodes of my illustrated story, so if you have a few minutes, please check it out. Thank you. Putting one of my web links on your blog or sending it an email to a friend, that sort of thing, really empowers the individual artist. Again, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.